Hi everybody, I'm Kinkas and I'm a synth DIY guy. Welcome to today's video, which is going to be a deep dive into the Olivella Modular SIGNOS module. Let me describe it the way the manual does. I can't do a better job than that. Basically, the Olivella Modular SIGNOS is a dual channel utility and waveshaper module for processing CV and audio signals. It has two channels, X and Y. Each channel also has a polarizer or 4-quadrant multiplier or bipolar VCA, a -5V to +5V manual offset voltage, which gets summed to their respective channels bipolar VCA output, right? So it doesn't get summed to the inputs, it gets summed to the outputs. You'll see why that's important a little later. And the red-green LED indicator for this output. The offset voltage can be used on its own if no main input signal is present. The bipolar VCA outputs of both channels, X and Y, they get summed to their respective offsets and are then fed to the logic and waveshaper circuits and analog gate that outputs the minimum of X plus offset and Y plus offset, an OR analog gate that outputs the maximum of X plus offset and Y plus offset, a mod waveshaper that represents the mathematical modulo operation as an analog CV modulator and waveshaper with both X plus offset and Y plus offset affecting different parts of the circuit, and a shift waveshaper that was originally designed to pitch shift sawtooth waves up an octave but can also do interesting wave mangling to all kinds of signals. So it sounds complicated, right? That's why I'm making this video, so we can actually understand what all of this means as far as sound. All of the above are just the module's building blocks, the tip of the iceberg of what SIGNOS can do. It naturally lends itself to feedback patching techniques within itself and or other modules, complex wave shaping, external signal processing, and more, which we will cover later in this manual. The limits of what SIGNOS can do are completely up to you. So a sip of water. So if you direct your attention over here to the module itself, I can show you the respective inputs and outputs and controls. So this is the main input for the X channel, right? And the Y channels down here, they're kind of mirror images of each other vertically, right? The modulation input is this one over here that gets tied to this attenuator over here. And this is the offset knob. This is the offset that gets added to the X output, the bipolar VCA output, which is over here. This one that has a little plus sign to it. So why does it say plus? Because that's getting added, right? The output of the bipolar VCA gets added to the offset, and you see the output voltage as a green for positive or red for negative on the LED there, right? And as you can see, you can use the offset on its own. Over here is the AND gate. These are the normal and inverted unipolar VCA outputs. Over here we have the two wave shaping outputs, and then this is now the Y channel unipolar, normal and inverted VCA outputs, and the OR gate output over here. And then again, this is the mirror of the top. So here you have your modulation input with its attenuator and the main input over here and the offset knob and the bipolar VCA output over here. So let's start by just checking out the VCAs. What we'll do is we'll grab one of the normal VCA outputs. We'll watch it in my oscilloscope here. Let's turn on triggering to normal. And now we're going to send some kind of an audio signal to that. And we'll try the mix output of the piston Honda connected to the main input of SIGNOS. And now we'll connect the output of my oscilloscope. We already see that something's happening there. And we're going to put that into my output module here. All right. So far so good, because there's normalization. There's a voltage normalized to the modulation input. That means I can use this attenuator as a manual volume control, right? Manual control of that VCA. Once I put something in there, it could perhaps be a looping envelope generator here. Why don't we make it loop? Level, release. We can put that into the modulation input here. Now the VCA is controlled by the looping and voltage controlled attack, decay, sustain, release, envelope generator there. what if we get an output of the Hertz donut here instead? Right? Take a main output here. And let's just bring everybody down. So basically we have a sine wave here. Okay. Now, if I use an audio rate modulation source, like for example, the triangle output of my middle path VCO over here. Now we are doing audio rate amplitude modulation, right? Of our Hertz donut signal here. And at this point, we can have a look at the bipolar output. Sounds quite different. This is the 4-quadrant multiplier, aka ring modulator, aka bipolar VCA, polarizer, etc. And that's the behavior for this output, for the bipolar output. This actually behaves as just a normal attenuator for the unipolar outputs. All right, check it out. See? So now it's off all the way to the left and on all the way to the right. But if I use the bipolar, then you have off in the center and you have inversions of the modulation signal coming in there. So now you can modulate. Just use it as a VCA. Sometimes you need an extra VCA, right? They say you can never have too many. Hold on, let me get my water here. So yeah, they say you can never have too many VCAs. Well, here you have another 2 VCAs with inverted version of the envelope, of the output rather. This would be the inverted one right here. Right now, since we're in audio rate, won't really hear a difference. More significant once we start using it for CV, right? All right, so let's unpatch this and have a look at some other things that this thing can do. Why don't we have a look at the analog logic? The analog logic is going to reflect the X plus offset and Y plus offset. Just plug it in there. As I fiddle with the offsets for each channel, it'll always output whatever the minimum is. All right? So whichever knob is higher, whichever offset knob is higher, won't really affect our oscilloscope here, right? Until it crosses where the other one is, and then it does. Basically, looking at both signals and outputting whichever one is lowest in voltage, right? And now I've just done this with offsets here, but it's really cool to do it with signals, right? Middle path VCO here. I'm just gonna plug that into input X. Input Y is gonna get the other side of my middle path VCO. So now what's interesting is that both are centered, right? Both these oscillators are centered. Right, and I can turn up our VCA by turning up the knobs. Now this is super loud. Turn it down a little bit. So this is cool because it's generating kind of an interpolation of the 2 oscillators, right? So whenever one of them is lower than the other, that's what the output will reflect. And since they're centered, yeah, this is definitely like an interpolation of both signals, which is an interesting kind of effect that's pretty unique, very different from your usual ring modulator kind of effect. I'd like to control it with something. I guess the KeyStep Pro I have in front of me. I'm gonna grab the pitch output of voice 1, and I want to control volt per octave of both sides of the middle path. I think they're normalized. Right, so now that sound that I created with our AND gate let me send a square wave from the middle path VCO to the oscilloscope. We can see the wave shape more clearly, right? It's kind of like those little cat ears, and we can change that. There we go. little movement there by being a little bit out of tune. This is kind of a super triangle. So right there, using the AND gate gives us really cool effect. Now, if I use the offsets now, that'll have an effect as well. That'll change the balance between the two, right? Right, so I can actually have it to where now only one of those waves gets sent through most of the time, or the other. There you go. There's just one. Now here's just the other. Right? And I can kind of balance with the offset how much of each of my oscillators is actually making it through. That's cool right there. Now I can send something to the modulation, and that's going to modulate our VCAs, remember. How about some sine wave LFOs here from my sine bank? Let's get kind of a slowish one in the first modulation input here. Right? And that's going to change how much of that oscillator is going through. And we'll do the same with another, a little bit faster LFO here for the modulation input of the Y channel. So now we have a kind of a chaotic wave shaping happening. Let's do a little sequence. A little crazy. What a cool effect. And we're just using the AND gate. Now what does the OR gate sound like? It's the opposite, right? That's going to take the maximum. I think it's probably going to sound similar right now for what we're using it. Let's see. It's different enough. Alright, let's go back to without the sequence here. Right, and without the LFOs. So we're gonna just remove the modulation cables. So we can have the open VCA. Right? And so this is the AND gate right now, with the way I have the oscillator set up. Let's listen to the OR gate. Very similar, right? And the reason for that is because it seems to be a little bassier. The drawing is different, but the sound is very similar. Now let's fiddle around with the oscillators to see if we get kind of different effects here. And not really, it's quite similar for audio purposes. There's a difference though, listen to that. So this is the AND gate. And here's the OR gate. It's subtle, but there's definitely a difference. And again, this is something that will probably make a more radical, noticeable difference when we use it for CV, right? Right, so those are the gates. What about the waveshapers? Whoa, that's loud. Let's turn that down a bit. So this is the waveshaper that's meant to double the saw. And now we're using it with the triangle coming from middle path VCO. Two triangles rather. And they get thrown in together with this waveshaping thing. But I can remove one, right? And now we have waveshaping of just this side over here. This side of the middle path VCO is going into X channel, right? And now the VCA here is making a difference. So is the offset of the Y channel. See? It's very interesting wave folding effects here. Let's listen to that sequence again. So we can get radically different sounds. This sounds really cool right here. What an excellent waveshaper. I find it to be more interesting than your average wave folder, to be honest. Listen to that. Love it. And this is just playing with the offset, right? Now if I send a modulation source rather than an audio source to Y input, right? That could be interesting as well. Let's listen to that. So that's like automating that offset. Very cool. So very animating the timbre. And I can send another LFO perhaps to modulate the... Let's grab one from the Kermit here. I don't want any presets. Just gonna grab an output from the Kermit. That is, let's see what the wave shape is. A sine. I'm gonna send that to modulate the amplitude of our middle path VCO as it goes in to input X. I can turn it up all the way. Make it slower. Right? So as it gets louder, it gets more affected by that wave shaping. I'm gonna add an offset here. Or rather, subtract on the X. Let's take off that LFO for now and just listen to the effect of the Kermit running the bipolar VCA. Now let's try a unipolar source, the looping VCA DSR here. Cool. Let's put that LFO back into the Y input here again. Ooh, listen to that. It's almost like low pass gate territory here. Sounds kind of organic. Definitely kind of low pass gatey. Let's use a faster LFO here. This one's a little too slow. Maybe this one. Now we're using, let's try a saw. Listen to that, it's different. Okay, for now, let's take out the LFO again and just listen to that. And just use the offset to kind of shape it. Very cool. All right, now I'm going to take out the envelope generator just so we can listen to what kind of wave shapes we can get just using the offset and a saw wave. Right, I do have the input, the VCA level here manually. That can help as well. Listen to that, it's so cool. Alright, this sequence is so weird. Yeah, let me do another one. This is a little better. Right, so changing the amplitude of the incoming signal by affecting the VCA, right? I'm actually affecting the bipolar VCA output by doing this. I can invert it too, see? So that's the inverted saw. Yeah, it starts high, and here it starts low. Wow, cool sound. And the offset will give me some kind of nice. And we're still in the right side wave shaping out. We haven't even looked at the other one yet. What a square wave here. I can invert the square as well. And the offset will give us different sounds. Kind of soft and buzzy. Cool. Yeah, but notably, square waves aren't really super useful for wave shaping anyway. Mostly the triangles and stuff. Here's the triangle again. I think it's my favorite to use with this is the triangle. Actually, so much variety, and we're not even using filters or anything. Listen to that. It's kind of like this fuzzy, distorted, lo-fi square. There it is. There it is. Cool. Look at those M's. I want to go back to sending a audio rate, another oscillator into Y input here. Look at that, that's cool. Wow, nice. Super nice. Right? And I'm just modulating, I'm just manually turning the knobs here, both the VCA knob and the offset knob. And getting different combinations of those two oscillators. Look at that, kind of like a stepped M kind of a sound. Let's change the pitches here again. Like a harmonic here. Here they are in octaves or unison. I'm not even sure. I think it's octaves. See, not really octave. It's an interval. I'm not gonna bother trying to figure it out while the sequence is moving. Wow, listen to that. And again, this is just the first wave shaper, right? All right, you get the idea, I guess. We could do this for hours, but let's grab the output of this other one over here. So this is the second wave shaper, right? And here we have the volume of our incoming triangle, right? Tenuverter. And here, with the offset knob, I can alter that wave shape. So if I can do that manually, that means I can also use like an LFO to do that automatically by just sending a CV into Y channel. Wow, listen to that. That sounds beautiful. Yeah, I could just listen to that. Now listen, I turned down a little bit the VCA for the X channel where the audio rate signal is coming in. And that's what that's doing. Very cool. Very cool. Now what happens if I send audio rate to this one? Let's grab the saw wave here, or the triangle again, rather. I already have that cable plugged in. So we'll send the triangle wave to audio rate modulate input Y. And look at that, what that Waveshaper is doing. Let's change the relationship between the oscillators here. Oh, let's go higher. I'm loving the drawings. Super cool. Okay, let's remove that audio rate there. Cool. We can actually trigger the envelope with the gate from the sequence, so to synchronize it. There we go. We have envelope control of the wave shaping. All the knobs are always useful. The attenuators, the offsets. Listen to that. It sounds some kind of strange acoustic instrument even. Beautiful. Oh, listen to that. It even gives you kind of a pluck. Oh, if we're used in conjunction with a low-pass gate or a VCA, that could sound very funky, very plucky. Very cool. Did I make a swung sequence? I didn't even realize. Yeah, sequence is at 60% swing. So that's Waveshaper, the left side Waveshaper. Oh, yeah, I'm holding the looper here on my KeyStep Pro. You see the KeyStep Pro right this time? Last video, it didn't appear. Hope you can see it this time. All right, let's stop this for a second. So yeah, the first one we looked at, the right side one, is the shift output, and this one's called the mod output. So that's how he's naming them. Very cool wave shaping possibilities here. And of course, you can do this with CV as well. So, for example, rather than using the output from the middle path, we'll grab a VCO, an LFO here, right? And now, yeah, we're just hearing some weird clicks because it's not audio rate. So instead of sending this output to our ears, why don't we listen to the triangle wave, the middle path VCO, and we send the output of the Waveshaper, the mod Waveshaper, to modulate the FM of the middle path VCO. So listen to that. Much more interesting kind of an LFO shape, isn't it? And I can still affect it by using the VCA knob here and the offset. It's a little loud. All right, let's use a faster LFO. Cool, like a noisemaker territory again. Let's hear this one. All right, we can also take an output of the 3-body in free, and we take out all the normalizations. And we'll use it in low mode. There you go, now it's an LFO. Wah wah wee, wah wah wee, wah wah. Very cool. Right, and we're still sending that looping envelope generator, but it's not looping right now. Why don't we send something else, a different source of modulation? How about the other side of my 3-body here? Put that in free and low, and turn down all the indices and just use the coarse. Turn this up here. It's a little bit harder to hear these changes immediately. Let's grab some LFOs here. How about I send something audio rate to input Y? Oh, there we go. We're still listening to the right side of the middle path VCO. Being modulated by the mod output of the SIGNOS with some audio rate. Now let's switch to the shift. Wow, nice. Listen to that, super cool. Oh, nice. Loving that. How about we play the sequence again and see what happens? So nice, so cool. Now let's grab, as the modulation source, remember, we're still listening to the VCO. We're not listening to SIGNOS right now. SIGNOS is a modulation source. Let's grab the AND output and see what happens there. Maybe we need a different offset. There we go. Now we're starting to leak in the audio rate there. How about the OR output? Probably the same thing, right? Cool. See, as the pitch goes down, we start hearing more of that audio rate modulation that's going into Y channel, right? Cool. All right, now let's go back to listening to this guy, and we'll send it instead of, we'll go back to sending it audio rate modulation. Right, okay, so what are we listening to? We're listening to the mod output. Now what we're sending it as audio is the triangle output of the middle path. And over here, we're not sending it anything, right? So why don't we send it itself, the shift output. Now we're getting into feedback patching, right? We're sending one of its own outputs to one of its own inputs. And yet again, we are pleasantly surprised with some super interesting wave shapes. Now, what other feedback patching can I do? The bipolar VCA output of the X, and we'll put it in to the modulation input of Y. Now let's play around with the offsets and attenuators a bit. And yet again, pleasantly surprised with a wealth of interesting wave shapes. Now let's invert these two guys. We'll listen to the shift output and feedback the mod output. What else can I do? Send the OR to the mod input of X channel. And sometimes you get no sound until you find the sweet spot of the knobs. Very cool. How about we use the AND instead of the OR? It's tight here. Very cool. So this is just scratching the surface of all the feedback patching possibilities, and in fact there are a ton of really cool patch examples in the manual. So if you get this module, if you just stick to what the manual suggests, you already have a whole bunch of cool ideas to explore. I think this has been a thorough enough demonstration of what the module does, all the inputs, all the outputs, mostly wave shaping, a little bit of modulation source. So I think we'll leave it here for today. I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the SIGNOS. Check out the links to it in the description. There's a link also to my Patreon and my website. And yeah, that's it. See you soon and stay noisy.